Hello, twirly whirlies, and welcome back to another excellent episode of Pole Obsession with me, Felix Kane, and the beautiful Elizabeth Domizet. We are talking today about accreditations and what that means in the pole community, and do we need them?
Yeah, do we need them is the real question. And I think personally, I think they're good in a lot of ways, especially the ones that are approved by Fitness Australia. I think obviously they've gone through a lot to get them approved by Fitness Australia. And they're just good in general, just to know your body and injuries and how to prevent things from happening and how to teach. There's lots of really good things that they bring. There is some certifications out there that are not approved by Fitness Australia that will not get you employed, that may cost you thousands or over $1,000 to do, that don't give you any real qualifications and will not guarantee you any type of employment anywhere. So, there's a little bit of both out there. What do you think about it?
Can I ask you a question before? Maybe a series of questions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what an accreditation is. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So in the fitness industry, there's different accreditations. So if you wanted to become a PT, you would need to do a course. So you would have heard of Cert 3, Cert 4, that sort of stuff. So that's what it is. So within those certifications, you can do a certain amount of points and you need to keep that accreditation up. So every year you need to do another certain amount of points to keep your Cert 3. So it's part of that sort of,
course that you do that teaches you about
whatever it is you're learning. Like you might do a TRX course, you might do a course with weights, you might do a course with bands.
It would be like base level, that's
whatever, yeah.
And then you add to it.
Yeah, exactly. So there is pole ones that are certified by Fitness Australia. IPDFA was the first one. So the International Pole Dance Fitness Australia Association was the first one to have it. They're certified in Australia. And I did do that course because I came to my studio to do it. And then after that, we've had a few more pop up. Like I know Justine McLucas has got one and she's certified by Fitness Australia as well. But then there's others that aren't.
So if you're looking at getting an accreditation, is that the word?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely look at something that is what's the word?
Certified
by
Fitness Australia.
Approved by Fitness Australia. So I'm just thinking, like, because I've never gotten an accreditation. Like if somebody's listening and they're like, oh, I want to either learn how to teach or like be a teacher, be an instructor, or own a studio or whatever, getting an accreditation, if you have little experience in teaching or in learning, like, because I've been trained since I was 4 by experts in whatever industry. So I think I've learned a lot through existing, which I think, that's maybe why I've never looked into becoming accredited, learning how to teach, learning how to do these things, because I've picked it up through experience. But if you don't have that sort of time on your hand, like if you don't have 20 years to spend learning, then this is a great way to streamline, get the knowledge that you need, and maybe even some sort of base for building a business, like all in one place.
Yeah, I think, education is really good to have. Like, I think it is really good to learn things. I do think, though, it's very different to when you're teaching in a studio, and it won't teach you things like how to interact with people, like if they're having a bad day or they're feeling down about themselves, or all of those sorts of things that we have to and we do deal with as pole instructors. Like, it doesn't teach you necessarily how to teach the beginner where to put their hand, and they're not getting that trick because they haven't squeezed their knee on properly, or they're using their foot instead of their shin. It doesn't show you those in detail. Some do, a lot don't.
Yeah. So it's like the nuance that is missing, I guess, like because I think you learn so much just from being in the role. Like I don't think there's many things that can prepare you for the type of things that are gonna get thrown at you as a pole instructor. Like, yeah, you're a therapist, you're a PT, you're a cheerleader, you're all of these things all like rolled into one.
Yeah.
And I think even like with moves, like you can break down a move and know exactly how to teach it in the correct way. But when somebody performs it in an incorrect way, there's a whole nother realm of learning where you have to be able to visually assess them very quickly and then give them back feedback, instruction on how to correct what they're doing to get them to do it in the right way. Even though you've explained it in the way that's maybe written down, they've interpreted it in their body in a way that's not. And there's no blueprint for that.
No, and that's experience and that's hours and that's, takes a long time to learn those sorts of things. And I know that we've spoken to a lot of studio owners, and pretty much every studio owner we've spoken to, we've said, will you employ somebody with this? And I don't think anyone has said to us, yes, I would employ somebody solely because I did a certification. So I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
I would be like, I don't
no,
really,
I
I don't
wouldn't
really
either.
appreciate like it doesn't mean I'm not good, but it also doesn't mean I'm great.
Yeah, exactly right. So I think if you are going to get one and thinking that you're going to get a job anywhere, that's not going to be the case. We can tell you right now that is definitely not the case. To work in a studio, I think my best recommendation is to go to the studio that you want to work in and say, what do I need to do to become one of your instructors? Because a
Yeah,
lot, yeah,
definitely. Like if you're really like drawn to a studio and you're like, oh, I absolutely love this. I want to be here. I want to learn how to teach. I want to be my instructor. And I think that's a phenomenon that like a lot of people will be familiar with, is that you do idolize that like teacher and you do want to be like them and maybe teach like them. And so it could be like a goal that I think that a lot of people want to work towards.
Yeah. So definitely go to the studio that you love so much and then go to the owner and say, hey, what is it, or a senior instructor or whoever it may be in the studio, and say, what is it that I need to do to become an instructor? One day I really want to be an instructor and I want to work towards it. They'll give you step by step what it takes to be one of their instructors. So it might be starting with shadowing, it might be taking a lot more classes, it might be you need to get to an intermediate level before you could teach a beginner. It might be any of those sorts of things, but this is doing a course won't necessarily, or most of the time at this stage, from what we've seen, get you a job.
Yeah, like automatically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a bonus and I think it's great. Like I've had girls come to me and say, oh, Elle, I've done this course, I'd like to instruct. And I said, well, but did they teach you this? Did they teach you this? And they're like, no. And I had a girl actually the other day and she said, I really want to instruct for you. And I'm like, and she had done one of the courses and she'd done a good course that was Fitness Australia certified. And I said to her, if I'm a beginner and I'm holding the pole like this and I'm keep slipping down, what are you going to tell me to fix it? How would I fix it? And she looked at me, she goes, I don't know. And I'm like, what'd you learn in the course? What does this course teach you? And a couple more questions, like I asked her, like, okay, if I do a fireman like this, I've got one leg here and one leg here. Am I doing it properly? And she's like, oh, I'm not sure. So do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that does not allow you to teach. Like if you're not sure, that means you still need to do hours and hours of shadowing.
Yeah.
You need to, be on the job training. You need to be working with real students to actually understand the things that will come up. So I think there is a place for them.
But yeah, you can't hang everything on them and be like, finished, now I'm a teacher.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
There's so much more. And I guess I don't know, do you see any benefit to like if it were a requirement by like say the government or something, would you see any benefit to it, or is it just like a bit wishy-washy still?
I think the course that I did was really good. So the benefit that I came out of it, and I have danced for so many years now, and I was an aerobics instructor, gymnastics coach, all those sorts of things. But one thing that I actually got out of this particular course was a really good warm up. So,
Mm.
and I think that that's not something that's done always so well in our industry. So what they really did teach you is, you warm up from head down to toe, every part of your body. We start with low impact. So we don't stretch first, we stretch after, so you don't have micro tears. And you go into your high impact, and then you do your stretching afterwards. So all of those sorts of things are really good. They came in handy, and I found that really, really interesting. Grips and holds and all that sort of stuff, we change it all the time anyway. There's always a new grip, there's always a new hold, so you've got to learn different things and what suits people's bodies. Not everyone can do a twisted grip, not everyone's got that flexibility in their shoulder. Things like that, overloading shoulders and things like that, they won't teach you in a lot of the courses. They will in some, but unless you're teaching that high level, it won't make sense anyway. So, and there's not a lot of elite polers that are going to do these courses. Most people that are doing these courses would be the lower level polers.
Yeah. So I guess it would just be like you got to weigh up the cost and the benefits. Like, is it going to be worth it for you? Do you need a lot of this knowledge that's taught, or are you do you already have it? Does it apply to the industry that you want to work in? Because I guess if you're going into fitness anyway, then of course, go get it. You need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're going into fitness, it's good. It is pole specific though, so you can't get a job as a PT with it.
Oh, then ignore what I just said because I don't know what I'm
These ones, though, it does work in reverse. So if you have a job as a PT, you're a PT already, you can add these to your accreditation points, and then you could branch off into pole. But even having said that, even if you're a PT and you branch off into pole, because I've had a lot of them do it with me at my studios, and they've all still had to shadow me for 2 months and train under me. So you've still got all of that as well. So it's like, dance and Pilates and pole and yoga. We do it more on hours. Like how many hours have you done of this and what have you observed? And then you do the shadowing. A lot of that comes into play with us because it's hands-on. You actually have to be there and you have to see it. It's too hard to learn a lot of this stuff in the classroom.
Yeah. And I think just wouldn't come up. There'd be so many things. It would take twice as long to teach you it step by step than if you were going into the studio for 2 months. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But definitely. And also, like, I feel like it could be a piece of the puzzle. Maybe it's a helpful piece of the puzzle, but it's not the complete picture.
Yeah, I think there's good, and maybe I think the hard thing about these courses is they're extremely expensive. I haven't seen a course for under $1,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, especially if you're not definitely going to get a job at the end of it. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's heaps of money. Yeah, and you're doing them, and are you going to get a job? So I would talk to the courses and see if you can get a job. But I think mostly you'll find that you're not guaranteed a job anywhere when you do it. So I think the best course of action is go and talk to your studio owner or senior instructor and just say, how do I get into this? This is what I really like to do. Because we do have a lot of people in our industry, which still blows my mind sometimes, that are full-time instructors.
We do have a lot that are full-time.
Yeah. In Melbourne, there's a lot of girls that teach full-time. That's their job. That's what they do in Sydney as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think so much here in Perth. Like, I think it's more like there's maybe a couple, but yeah.
I think we have none in Canberra, but they're definitely here in Melbourne where I'm here.
And I guess it's got to do with like population as well, because like there's a bigger population, there's more pole classes to teach, there's high demand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So people procreate.
That's it. Well, that's our take on pole courses. So if you run one or own one or have done one and you want to come and chat with us, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to talk to you.
We want to talk to you. We want to know all about it. Maybe I'll even do one. Probably not.
I don't think she will. To give you a broader perspective, here's what a couple of industry legends had to say. This is Ness from Bobbi's Pole Studio and Robyn from Sydney Pole, sharing their take on what they look for in instructors, what it really means to step into this role, and whether doing a pole course actually makes a difference when it comes to getting hired. Speaking of teachers, Bobbi's is very, very well known for having incredible teachers. Can you tell us about that, how it started, and even today, like you've got some pretty amazing instructors. How do you go about getting your instructors and keeping them at that high level that you've got them at?
So originally it was Candice and Jamila and Bobbi that were teaching. I don't know who came next, but they were always handpicked from the people that had gone right through our syllabus and the advanced people. And it was really important that they were, I mean, just nice people as well as great pole dancers, and ability to teach. So it's really hard, I think, to get. I mean, you might be a fantastic pole dancer, but have no idea how to teach. One of my friends is just super flexible. And I'm like, come on, teach a contortion class. She's like, I'm just naturally like this. I don't know how to get people here, you know? So, anyway, so yeah, the handpicked were pretty picky. And we'd rather run with less classes than to have somebody that's not kind of up to scratch.
How do you choose your instructors?
So Chloe Uchida, so she's in charge of hiring our instructors. So we have a process, like they can apply, and then if they're successful, she'll take them on a journey and sort of getting them on board. So it's a pretty stringent recruitment process. Again, we can't just take on anyone just because they feel like they want to become an instructor. Just because you're a good pole dancer doesn't mean you're going to be a good instructor. So
my daughter's to me, I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear that constant beeping. I don't know how to turn it off.
Mom, pick up the phone.
It's literally like that. And this girl's on, she actually worked for you, Robyn. I think I told you that she did a little bit of work for you when she moved to Sydney. She was
she's still
she was teaching. Yeah, she's in Sydney. She's in Sydney doing she's doing uni, so she's Sydney University, but she's was teaching, I think she was teaching aerial speed when you had the aerial hammock. I'm not sure if you still do that. Yeah. Nice. So anyway, my child worked for you.
She's great.
Yeah, she's great. Thanks. It's constantly texting me now. So Chloe does all the hiring and apply through like an online form, is it?
Yeah, so we have like a careers@sydneypole.com email address, so they can send their CV in, and then, you know, if they're appropriate or they have some sort of, you know, level of experience or they're keen to go through the program to learn how to teach, then Chloe will interview them first and see if they are the right fit for Sydney Pole. And then if they are, then she'll go through the process of, you know, they'll have to shadow for a period of time. She'll spend a lot of time with them and, get them on board as instructors.
So what sort of period of time would they shadow for if they're new? How does that work?
So they'll probably shadow for a good, at least for a term. So at least for sort of 10 weeks. And then again, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that you are going to become an instructor. It's just part of the process. And then we also have master instructors as well. So they go through a process. So it's not just Chloe. So if we have a master instructor for, let's say, Camperdown, they'll shadow with that person, and then that person will give Chloe feedback and the person feedback, and then go through a bit of a checklist of things that they need to sort of go through. So yeah, at least a term.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do too. How do you feel about somebody coming in with, say, these courses that are out there now, these pole courses? Does that sway you in any way? I know for me it doesn't, because I think that everyone teaches real differently and we've got our own teaching style. So if somebody does come into me and say, oh, I've done this course at wherever, I'm like, okay, that's great, but you now need to be an Aerial Pole Academy person. Is that similar for you?
I totally agree with you. I think it's still need to come in and go through our process as well, because we might do things really differently from someone else. So appreciate that they've gone through some sort of training, which is great, but they still need to go through the process with us to become a Sydney Pole instructor.
As employees and as teachers and as studio owners that have a very specific style and vision for our studios, we don't actually know what's taught on that course. So it may or may not apply. And that's lovely, a great thing to have for you. And it may have progressed you as a teacher, but it doesn't necessarily apply to the employer that you're handing it to. So I think that maybe a good thing for people looking into doing those sorts of courses is look at it as a tool to progress yourself personally, but it might not help you, get a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Big thanks to Ness and Robyn for sharing their insights. It's always great to hear from people who really know the industry inside and out. Whether you're thinking about becoming a pole instructor, taking a course, or just curious about what goes on behind the scenes, we hope this gave you some real clarity. As always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.